When you look in a mirror, what do you see? And for a very long time, I thought I saw myself. But now I see very clearly. Let's talk about it.
I just wanna dance.
What? Well, hello and welcome to the Tequila Hour late night division. What? I don't know what I'm saying because it's late at night. We'd start to my podcast. Hi, my name is Amanda. It is the Tequila Hour. It's 9:12 p.m. here in Australia, New South Wales, in the secret location. Yeah, I know. I don't normally do podcasts at 9:12 p.m. But anyway, like I said, late night edition. It's the 16th of May 2026. And hello. Yeah, maybe I should do more late night podcasts because I'm feeling quite, well, maybe it's the subject that I'm about to talk about. But yeah, I'm down. For the sexy vibes. The room is dark. The only ambient light is coming from my Rode Procaster and my laptop and a beautiful purple hue that I have from a light stand in the corner of the room. And here in the secret location outside, it is very dark. Where I live, there's actually right near my driveway, which is fucking handy, by the way, is a street light. So there's just a light ambient glow from that's kind of touching the Venetian blinds in the studio. And I think I need to do just hearing my voice in the night doing a podcast through my headphones. I'm fucking feeling it. So I hope you're feeling it too. Let's do some admin first and let's really talk about what I want to talk about today and we'll get into it. But first, let's do some admin. Well, if you're new here, hi, my name's Amanda. This is the Tequila Hour. Today it's Saturday. It's the 16th of May. It's late. I know don't normally do podcasts at this time of night. I normally do them in the afternoon. First of all, I've missed a couple of weeks. You might have noticed I will be releasing a podcast I finally edited. Yes, I know. Yeah, thank you. I'm new to this. No. Yes, finally edited a podcast talking about Dior makeup. So that'll be released tonight, Australian Eastern Standard Time, for those who are interested, because I'm based in Australia, you can tell by my accent. So, yeah, I have no excuse. I could make up a trillion excuses as to why. I think I mentioned this in the podcast that I'm releasing. Yeah, I wouldn't say I had a creative block, could term it that. It felt a little bit like that. I think I've just had some things on my mind that have been more emotionally important than this podcast, to be honest, and I needed to kind of formulate some ideas in my mind. So, yeah, had a couple of weeks break. Rest assured, I'm back into it and I'm going to be moving into Season 12, which I'm in now. What am I saying? This will be episode 12 of Season 12. It is what it is. I usually do about 12 episodes per, if you want to, in air brackets, call it a season, and I think I'm going to move into 13. Yes, there's many reasons now off the top of my head why I'll do that. But anyway, yeah, so missed a couple of weeks. Nothing really was happening. Quickly touch on work. Work is work. I'm really at the point now where I'm just going to even stop mentioning work. You'd be like, bitch, what? Especially noting, when I think and, fondly look back on some of the episodes that I did on this podcast probably, I don't know, maybe a year ago or something like that. or even 2 years ago where, there was themes around work. I'm really now, and I will probably expand, or probably I will expand on that in this podcast today, that I've really had a real, finally, fuck yeah, everyone's like, what, bitch? I know, it's true. Finally, and I've said this to myself, and you might say this to yourself in your own life, that I work to live. I don't live to work. And it still is one of those things for me. I can get very distracted by feeling like I just have to give everything at work. And I'm really at a place now where, no, I'm really at a place in my life that I really am wanting to focus on me and my life and my goals and what I want to achieve in my life and some of the things I want to learn, the shit I want to create. The word plethora comes to mind because I really like that word, by the way. Yes, there is a plethora of ideas, wants, desires, needs, creativity, sadness, joy, gratefulness, everything that is just composed of my life, completely separate to work. And I say that fondly because honestly, work is still obviously an important component of anyone's life if you work, because that's your source of income. Though I do say wholeheartedly that there has been periods, most definitely in my life, where it has become a place of, false sanctuary, shall we say, a place where I felt I needed to, be a certain way or exceed in a certain way to have some semblance of self-recognition or self-worth. And I don't feel like that anymore. And it's really quite a strange feeling for someone who is an overachiever to kind of be comfortable in saying it's not that place anymore for me. So that can only be a good thing, I think. And life is life. I am going to walk about. Can I say sound any more Australian? Probably. Fuck yeah. I probably could. Yes, I will touch on some of the things that I have been working on personally in my life. I have discussed them in a couple of weeks ago in regards to, very open and honest conversations that I've had with, people in my life about what I am exploring in my life. And I, moving forward, will be expanding those conversations into this podcast. Now, I don't take it lightly where, these are conversations that, I don't know, I don't feel like it's open conversations that people are having. I am really mindful and trying to grow into that person that I've just be completely comfortable with being completely open and honest with everyone. I have mentioned this podcast is the place that I am still exploring that, and I still find challenges around that. But there's just this great sense of depth in my soul that I just need to get out of the box and just speak my truth. So this is my place. This is my home. My home is my podcast where I will talk about the things that I want to talk about. And I really am going to, like I said, get deeper, grow deeper, and explore some of those things here on this podcast and talk about it for myself, really. And, the extra bonus that you who are listening or do regularly listen to this podcast might resonate with some of the things that I talk about. And, honestly, I would love it to then create or expand greater conversations in your lives with your subsequent lover or lovers or husband or wife or the people who, are your people, and that you feel comfortable in talking about these things, because I really do, again, highlight that some of the things that I talk about on this podcast, in my experience, people just don't talk about. You know, I was, and I will expand on that. So we are doing admin. Finally, life's good, mate. I'm, back. I've got the creative juices flowing. I'm down tonight just to really talk about some interesting topics. And if you're interested too, firstly, I always encourage drinking on this podcast. It is called the Tequila Hour, so catch up, bitch. If you didn't know, I do like tequila very much. But tonight, just to be very different, I'm drinking gin. Now, I'm drinking gin because, it's a very clean alcohol, a bit like vodka, in my opinion. Again, I find that gin is just very refreshing and very easy to drink and absorb. It's just nice, all right? Secondly, I was having a conversation with someone today online and they mentioned that their favourite drink was gin, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I could go some gin. So this person planted the seed in my mind to drink gin tonight on this podcast, so that's what I'm drinking. I had a little dinner, like a tiny little sliver of, well, it wasn't a sliver, it was like a square of lasagna, which was nice. And, so I'm fueled. I've got food in my body. I've got a drink next to me. So I encourage my listeners to grab yourself a drink. If you want to drink alcohol, go for it. I encourage all to fucking relax, grab a drink and just listen to my voice and listen to what I'm talking about. And like I said, grab a snack to go to the loo, because you're going to need to before you settle in. And I'm going to play some music for a second, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about dominance. Let's go. Hold on. No. Okay, and I'm back. Hi. I'm back. And welcome back. I had a quick sip of my gin, by the way. The gin I'm drinking is Gordon's. Just an easy gin, mate. London's Gordon gin. And sugar-free lime or sugar-free lemon and mango. Doesn't matter. It's a mixer, it's sugar-free. Together, they make beautiful music in my mouth. And I'm feeling it. So hopefully you've got yourself a drink as well, and I just want you to relax and just, listen to what I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about dominance, and you'd be like, what? Yeah, I will own you, bitch. No. No, I want to talk about dominance. Now, I am going to talk about dominance in, several themes, shall we say, but primarily I'm going to talk about dominance in sexual themes. And why I'm going to talk about it is dominance and submissive behaviour is something that I am personally exploring at the moment. I'm not old to it. I do understand the concept. What I am exploring, though, is a greater level of dominant behaviour, as in I'm the dominant, and then exploring that in sexual terms with others. And it's been very interesting, shall we say. And it's not like like I said, it's not a new concept to me, but I never really, and how do you imagine? I don't know. When you're 20, 30, 40, even a year ago, I'm trying to pick a date, 2002, no, the 16th of October, 2002, when she thought about being a dominant in a submissive relationship. I don't know. It wasn't like that at all. Yes, I never really gave much thought or intellectual, exploration into dominant and submissive behaviour. in terms of what I'm exploring right now is what I'm trying to say. And for me, it really, again, it's one of those things where as I more explore it myself, and then for me, I like to know lots of things. So, I'm looking at videos on YouTube, or I'm reading articles, or, I'm just doing a chat GPT search or whatever. It's, I don't know, again, it feels like there's a lot of just shit. I don't know how else to say it. It's either blatantly just generic. I don't know if that's because of the interpreted nuances of that leads into then discussions around BDSM and all that kind of shit. I don't know if that's the reason why these kind of articles, or especially YouTube is a good example, where it just, there was a handful, like a tiny, maybe 5, that, really there's no channels that really talk about this. And there are, I'm not saying there isn't. What I'm trying to say is that there's room for improvement, most definitely. For people who want to learn and understand, I think a lot of it too is where, if you are unsure, because for me, it really took me a long time, separate to being in this behaviour that I'm discussing tonight, about control and about self-control, and which I think is something they don't, in my opinion, it's not a topic of conversation that then leads into dominant and submissive behaviour. I don't know. I mean, it goes hand in hand, I think, for me, but I don't think that's really touched on enough as part of these conversations. And especially for me personally as a woman, I'm not in a world where I'm surrounded by people who openly discuss these topics. I'm not in a world where, my world, or what my outlook is, I have a 9-to-5 job. People aren't talking about this kind of stuff at work. You never would. I only kind of briefly touched on this the other day with 2 girlfriends, or 2 people that, if I want to say, they're people that I actually admire as women. I talked about it with them very briefly and to kind of see what their reaction was, to be honest. Yes, it's obviously I talk about it with my husband, but again, there is, as a woman who is doing self-exploration, I am that kind of person who just will have a crack and is confident enough to, like, if it goes well, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And again, using intelligence and mindfulness not to get, in any way, shape or form in a situation that I'm not comfortable with is probably another caveat that I need to add to these kind of conversations. But this is a thing where I think it's important before anyone, or you thinking about in terms of, sexual relationships in regards to dominance, is really about yourself and about where you are in yourself in regards to worth, self-control, especially control in many aspects, leading and feeling comfortable with that, and just being comfortable with yourself, obviously, as well. So yes, I would say to you, if you haven't guessed, yeah, I've had my fucking moments, bitch. These are still things that I'm learning, even at 53, about who I am as a person, about self-control, and about leading and being comfortable with that and being a dominant person. And for me, it's an interesting word, because still when I say the word dominant, in my mind, like as I say it out loud and I hear my voice in my mind, I equate that to, straight away hardness. Dominant behaviour is hardness. It's raw. It's rough. It's forceful, even a word that comes to mind. It's, someone is dominant over someone else. In terms of like complete domination, where I am in the process of learning that, yes, that is part of it, clearly, but there is the level of being dominant in your own self-control in these situations, and that then leads into control with these type of behaviours that I'm talking about. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. And I think for me moving forward, it's probably a topic of discussion that I want to talk about again, because when I started this podcast, I talked about, and I will title it The Mirror. And I think back to maybe 2 years ago where, give or take, I read Mel Robbins' book where The High Five Habit, I think that's what it was called. I'll link it in the description of this podcast. And there was a very important message that she had in this as part of that in regards to the high five habit, where she talked about, sorry, I had to swallow deeply. She talked about looking at yourself in the mirror and really looking at yourself and then high-fiving yourself, like to basically like see yourself for the first time and really see yourself, which is actually quite difficult if you've never done it before, and which I found was quite difficult. And then, basically just high-fiving the mirror or high-fiving the air or however you felt comfortable in that process to go, yeah, bitch, you've got this, mate. I see you and you fucking got this. And, yeah, I think it's still clearly it had an impact in me. I don't do it. But at the time when I read the book, and I did do it for a period, I think it was only a week. I'll be very honest here. I think only a week. That what I did get out of that was I don't see, for a long time I didn't want to see. Look, I saw myself like it's, of course, like a mirror is a mirror. You see yourself. But do you really see yourself? I mean, to take 5 minutes and stand in front of a mirror and, look at your body and look at who you are and feel your presence and be in your body while you look at yourself in a mirror, and to really look in your eyes when you look at a mirror is very interesting. Something that for me, even now, like sometimes I'll stop myself and really look in my eyes and just center myself. If you don't understand what that means, I'll be very mindful of my stance, how I'm standing, feel my body, like as in from head down to my feet, feel the floor, and then just take a real deep breath in from my stomach and just like not like that. That was a short breath, but really inhale in and then exhale and just really just to my gut feel where I'm standing, and then really look at myself in the mirror. And I say that because at that time 2 years ago, yes, I did see myself, but I'm talking about this now because not only do I see myself now, but I believe myself and I'm comfortable and, I'm fascinated and I'm interested in the person who I'm looking back at. And, yeah, it's an evolution that is very exciting, especially at this time at my life where I'm exploring, like I said, tonight I'm talking about dominance or dominant behaviour. Yeah, I really like it. I really like it, and I really like mirrors. And yes, I bring this up as well because I'll give you an example. I'm going to have a sip of my drink because I need to have a sip of my drink to center myself for a second, because I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about. And, yeah, then I'd be interested, again, if these are topics of discussion that you've never really talked about or you want to talk about with me, again, I do have an email address, which I will leave in the description of this podcast. Yeah, I really, as a woman, and I'm not saying this podcast is exclusively, designed for women, but, I am giving a woman's perspective that, yeah, as a man, I'd love to get a man's perspective on this because, they think way differently than we do. So, yeah, I'd be interested. But, yeah, again, I'm just going to have a quick sip of my drink and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk more about it. Well. Hi. Yes, welcome back. I had a sip of my drink. Still nervous. Look, I don't normally just talk about sex on my podcast, okay? So, it is what it is. But it's something I do want to talk about because I don't know why we don't talk about it. Or I really don't. But, yeah, that's what I want to talk about. But I want to talk about it in terms of dominant behaviour this evening because for me personally, that is something that I am currently exploring with, in relationship with my husband, but I'll be honest, primarily with other people. So, mirrors. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you're the same. If someone was just asked me what some of my sexual preferences are, I'll be honest, I like voyeurism. It is what it is. I like watching. I like watching myself, but I do like watching others. So the other night, like I said, I'll give you an example because I just want to talk about it. The other night I was in front of a mirror with a man and he was naked and I was naked. And sounds weird. And we were both naked and then we made love. No. No. Floor-length mirror. I've got a thing for mirrors. I really like mirrors. I like taking pictures in front of mirrors, dressed and naked, by the way. I don't show naked mirrored pictures, by the way. No. No. They're for my eyes only. No. Oh, shit. Anyway, losing it. Yes, I do like mirrors. And so we're standing in front of the mirror, floor-length mirror, both naked, blindfolded him, restrained him with his hands behind his back. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, it was fucking hot. It is something I've wanted to do for a very long time, and you'd be like, man, is that all it was? Look, we did other things, okay? I'm not going to tell you that blow. Yes, there was that. But I'm not going to give you a whole description of my night, okay? This is not the Spank channel, okay? This is a podcast where I'm talking about shit I want to talk about and real life shit, okay? This is not a porn channel in any way, shape or form. So don't get it twisted. But for all full transparency, yes, we were both naked standing in front of a mirror. I blindfolded him. I restrained him. He was submissive and I was dominant. And I'm telling you right now, I fucking loved it. And I want more. And yeah, the end. I know. And this is the thing, if you've never, and you'd be like, really, that's all that happened? Look, there's other shit, dominant shit that happened, okay? He was someone who was very open to doing anything that I wanted. And I have to say that it's been a long time since a man has just, we've had very open conversations, very comfortably and calmly around what do you want, and for me to be 100% comfortable to say, and this is what I want, and it happened, and it literally we did what we did, and it took me a long time to get back to this place. I would say to you that I've never really, I mean, this is just a precipice. Is that the word? Precipice? Of a greater picture that I am currently exploring. And like I said, I'm not going to tell you everything because it's some things I'd like to keep to myself. Thank you very much. But when I say to you the level of power that I felt, it was strange because it was, when I talked about a second ago, I talked about dominance and being dominant, and that instant reaction of being, forcefulness or power over someone else or restraint and these are components and words that, come to mind. I have to say to you that the moment went too quickly. I was like, No, it was good. But what I'm saying is it was beautiful, actually. Now when I'm thinking back on it, because, like I just mentioned, these words, these powerful, strong words that come to mind when I say dominance or dominant behaviour over someone. And when I say to you, it wasn't like that at all. It was, because he was subservient and he was restrained, but it wasn't, what am I trying to say? There was no anger or angst or power. The power was over someone, but it was consensual power. And when I say to you, when I looked at him and myself in the mirror at that moment, it was beautiful. Yeah, it was fucking hot. But it was beautiful, actually. And I think not only, what am I trying to explain? I don't think that's explained enough. Maybe that's what I'm trying to get at. I don't think that perhaps that's explained enough when you as a person who likes to understand things and wants knowledge around things, and you go on the internet, or because that's the resources now, isn't it? I mean, there's books, of course. Books aren't dead. Please, as I, look up at the sky and put my hands in a prayer, please never get rid of books, please. We don't just go to the library anymore. It's all on the internet, okay? And it's all on social media. I'm not going to Instagram for this shit, okay? YouTube and shit like that. That's the resources that people go to now. And I never, not that I didn't think about this in these terms, but the level of just being completely present with someone and being completely comfortable in being in control of someone else consensually was very beautiful, actually. And there is then expands out, of course. But in that moment, like I said, looking in the mirror, and it was too fleeting because I was just too excited, but I'm not going to lie, that yes, there was a moment that I saw his reflection and I just thought, this is just fucking beautiful. It's really beautiful. And I don't think that's really explained or explored or interpreted enough at the start of these conversations when, straight away it's, there's the dominant and submissive, and one's dominant and one's submissive, and then it's BDSM. Like, it goes to that immediately. And for me, I'm finding in my dominant submissive exploration, it's not just about that. And, you know, the fact of someone being comfortable, especially a man being comfortable, in my opinion, a man being comfortable of just going, what do you want? And being comfortable with me just saying, this is what I want, and then they do it. That's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. And I had a great night. I'm not going to lie. It was a great night. But for me, and through the process I've been through in the last, since, what are we in May? So nearly 6 months, of this year, clearly I want more, but it's not just about sex. You might think it is, but that is a big component, of course. But these are the things that I want to understand for myself as a person. So, you know, I've had, and, you know, for a long time, I would say to you that I struggled with just feeling like I was comfortable leading outside of the sexual world. Now I'm moving into being comfortable with just being the boss, being comfortable with being confident, or being comfortable with being dominant, or being confident in being assertive. It's fascinating the words that are aligned to the word dominant behaviour to me. And I know from personal experience where, you know, there was a level of a trepidation in feeling comfortable with being assertive and being in charge and leading others, and how do you do that, and how do you do that with grace, and there's a level of humility and understanding of the other person, and that leads into everything, and that for me leads into dominant and submissive behaviour. And for me, if you don't know, but, you know, for me, I'm exploring both behaviours, dominant and submissive. I suppose you would say, in terms of, if we want to bring it back to sexual nature, then yes, you would probably say that I would normally be in a submissive role. So for me to now be at a place where I'm comfortable not only in certain areas of my life, but to bring those dominant behaviours into something that is such a personal thing when you're talking about, you know, sex and sex with a man or a woman or whoever. Yeah, it's really opened my mind to a lot of things. And like I said, in that moment when I was looking at him in the mirror and he was completely submissive, I was just like, I understand how people get on. Like, they're clearly, like, if you look, for me, some people don't like this at all. Like, you'd be like, Amanda, you're weird. Or you're scaring me. Don't tie me up, please. So I'd be like, I kind of want to. No. Please. No. Some people, you know, some people aren't into this at all. At all. Like, no way, Jose. Some people, I imagine, doesn't even enter their psyche. They're like, what, bitch? You were doing that? For me, this is beautiful behaviour. This is interesting human behaviour that I am finally allowing myself. Don't ask me why I just took so long. I don't know. But yeah, I've opened the window and the door's open, and now I'm in the hallway and I'm outside and I'm naked and I'm like, woo, and I'm loving it. And yeah, there's so much to understand. And for me, it's not only an understanding of another person. In that moment, it was the understanding of male behaviour, and, you know, being comfortable entirely with someone who was a complete stranger to me. I mean, I didn't know this man, but felt calm and in control with this person, as he was calm and in control with me. And yeah, just the human mechanics of that is fascinating to me, and how the interplay of two people in that situation is. But like I said, I don't think I really, and I'm still trying to understand it, that honestly, in that moment, I was just spellbound. I was spellbound. And yes, I can understand if that is your something that you enjoy in regards to dominant behavior. Clearly, I can understand how quite easily it could lead to other things that, should be consensual, by the way. I don't think I don't know, I just feel like the places that people go to try and understand this, because it is a very, the psychological component of this is so large, separate to the physical side of things, that, yeah, I am a person who will just, if I make up my mind in my subconscious or on the level that's between the two, if I might make up my mind about something, I'm in. I'll do it, even risk, to the point of, I will try something, and yes, I will try and mitigate as best as I can. In saying that, though, I will try something. I am just that person. I will give something a go. And, this, for me, brings up broader conversations on, again, my level of comfortability, my level of intelligence, my level of self-control and controlling myself. And not only just the control of other people, but just taking or letting control go to others. May that be the person you're with in the room, may that be the universe. At no times have I felt unsafe, though there has been, clearly I have talked about moments that have been very soul-searchingly difficult, and experiences that I've had, not around dominant submissive behaviour, but just around, some of the things I've explored in the last couple of months. There has been moments of quite deep difficulty and frustration and anger even, which I've talked about. Yet like I said, I am that person who, and will for all of time be that person who's not, there's a level of fuck it. There is a level of fuck it. What's going to happen? What's the worst going to happen? And what's the worst going to happen if you don't do it? If you don't try, if you don't see, you don't feel, or you don't give it a crack, like what's going to happen? In that moment, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't scared. I was very comfortable and very calm. And obviously I was very excited, but I knew what I was doing, and he knew what he was doing. And, I was very, hands up. I was very grateful that, the experience I had was someone who was very calm and very giving and wanted the same thing as me. Obviously that's probably a very key component of these kind of conversations. This is the thing though, it's, for me, there is a level of just fuck it and see. But I also, I want to have these conversations with other people. I want to understand their experiences and what it's like. How do they feel about it? Because, like I said, more often than not, it's, it's the porn video, or it's straight into they're completely restrained and they're getting whipped, or there's just the heavy BDSM that straight away leads into that. And I think there's so much more in this world of that sexual dominant submissive behaviour that just isn't talked about, that doesn't need to be so extreme and harsh and, cold and clinical. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Yeah, that is a part, and for anyone who's interested in the harder stuff, which I am in some semblance, then that's one side. But it's so multifaceted. I just don't think in what I'm looking at or what I'm referring to don't explore that side of this or explore the psychological side of this behaviour enough for then to say give people the confidence to go, I'd like to do that, or I'd like to have that conversation with my my significant other partner, whoever that might be, and they go, I'd like to try this and see what it was like, or even just to have the thought in their mind and to think about it and even think, well, is that something that I'd like to do, or is that something that I don't want to do at all? And, it's just interesting. I just don't feel like, I don't know, it's always, I'm trying to be coherent here. To me, and this is probably maybe my own mirror in this, where dominant is hard. Like dominant is hardness. It's not softness, it's hardness. Dominant behaviour is forcefulness or being forceful over someone else. Control and being controlling, where leading and control and guidance, these words, so vast, so unique. There's so much more to these words that I just don't think is explored enough. I mean, I did a quick Google search in regards to the word dominant. I looked at like dominant and submissive behaviour and stuff like that. But it goes into, like that. To me, I feel like, I don't know, especially on YouTube. Okay, I'll give this as an example. On YouTube, I think I entered dominant versus submissive behaviour. Now, like I said, there was one channel, which is a podcast channel, that looked half decent, right? They could do with a bit of finagling, but it was half decent and had half decent conversations about topics around dominant and submissive behaviour and shit like that. And then I'm assuming because it's sexual in nature that, YouTube filters this shit. Therefore, there isn't just blatant channels around BDSM, dominant or submissive behaviour, that don't lead into like the fanciful and the quite cartoonish channels that I actually saw. And I'm like, is this it? Like, is this really, there is a level of censorship. And yes, I understand that this conversation does relate to sex and that, yes, children can, there's new laws in Australia, but, children can go online and then they could and can potentially look at these channels and they're, then viewing quite sexual nature of behaviour that should only be, encompassed by consensual and adult people. What was that? Sorry, I just got a message. On the way home, see you soon if you're still up. Yes, that was my husband. He's working late and he's on his way home. Yes, I'm still up. Yes, that. So I understand on that platform the challenges of having, channels that openly discuss dominant and submissive behaviour in terms of the sexual terms or sexual relationships leading into BDSM or control, all that kind of good shit, because, there has to be some sense or level of censorship, is that the word I'm looking for, based on who can watch this information, the information that's being delivered by these people, YouTube isn't a porn channel, you know, therefore there is a very, clearly there's a very fine line between promoting this kind of, or you're even discussing this type of behaviour between adults on a public platform such as YouTube. So I do understand that, but I was disappointed that there wasn't a channel that didn't look cartoonish or look stupid, I'll just cut to the shit, that made it look like a joke. And these behaviours are not a joke, and a lot of people like these kind of things. So I don't know why the channels that exist on YouTube are that way forward. I really don't understand that. It's kind of embarrassing, actually. It would be way more refreshing to have, you know, a woman just dressed up in normal clothes and not look like a housemaid to talk about, you know, dominating a man. Do you know what I mean? I don't know why it denigrates to that level, to be honest. I mean, we're all adults here. Can we just have conversations around dominant behaviour without automatically picturing someone in a gimp suit, you know, getting fucked up the ass? Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know why we can't have just more of an open discussion on a platform like that around, I don't know, I mean, maybe there's psychological channels that then have, you know, the ability to use disclaimers to say that, talk about the psychological side of, you know, dominant submissive behaviour. Maybe, I don't know. But then this is the thing, from my experience, I'm not seeing or being, you know, I'm being highlighted, being highlighted to a place where it doesn't go from 0 to 100. You know, it doesn't go from dominant submissive behaviour to like now we're in a dungeon and, you know, you're like look like you're on a fucking X being strewn out and you're being whipped. This is the thing, there's no in between, and I don't know why there's no in between. Tell me if you know. I don't know why. I don't know why we aren't more comfortable just sitting at the start and explaining some of those feelings and behaviours and psychological components that perhaps more people would feel more comfortable with this type of behaviours if they understood the start a lot better. I don't know if I've explained that very well, but that's the thing where, like I said, and I go back to the mirror and I go back to seeing him in the mirror. It was beautiful. And I don't think that component of just that is explained enough, where, you know, there's having control over someone, but the beautifulness of being in control of yourself and in control of someone else is beautiful behaviour. And I don't know why that isn't explained enough, in my opinion. I really don't. And that's for me where, like I said, I'm the fuck it girl. Fuck, right. No, I am the woman who'll just have a crack, right? I will have a go, like I said, mindfully, of course. Though I am wanting to know more. I'm wanting to understand more, because for me, I am curious in nature. I want to be more comfortable in my femininity. Femininity? That's a hard word to say, by the way. Femininity. I want to be comfortable in expressing myself in a sexual nature. I want to be comfortable with expressing that around people that I am comfortable with. I want to be comfortable in expressing that with my husband. You know, these are the kind of things where's the resources for that? You know, obviously you find your tribe, and I will find the tribe. I'll find the people. Maybe I will or maybe I won't. Who knows? Maybe I should open my mind to that I will. But this is the thing, when your lamppost, for example, is 0 to 100, where's the path? Where's the path that you feel comfortable in taking and having these discussions about? I mean, for me as well, where I'm having these kind of conversations and interactions with other men, then that just leads into another minefield, shall we say. This is the thing. These are behaviours that would be, and will be explored on a deeper level with someone you trust, like your husband or your partner, because you've already built a level of, the other person. For me, there is a level that's, more exciting to explore these behaviours with people I don't know, because I'm learning on the fly. I'm learning on the fly, which I really like. I like to do that. I like to feel off balance. I like to feel how I can center myself in a place where I am off kilter. I like to then see how I can influence someone when I'm off kilter and be okay with that, because it just brings a greater level of self-awareness, and which just leads into assertiveness, that just leads into domination, basically. And I think that's why I want to bring it up on this podcast. I think it's why I want to talk about some of these behaviours more in this forum, and I certainly want to move forward in bringing women onto this podcast and talking about sexual behaviours, I'd love to talk about any woman about lots of things, to be honest. But, I'd like to bring other people in to actually have conversations and get their opinion as well on how they see and view things as well. I mean, there's viewing and there's seeing and there's really seeing. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like listening and hearing for me. When you don't necessarily have a resource, where do you go? If you're not a fuck it and see kind of person, who do you talk to? Do you just keep watching really bad porn videos thinking, I really would like to whip my husband? Do you know what I'm saying? This is the thing. The level of the resource material is sadly lacking in this area. I don't know why, considering that through the interactions I've had with other men, it's straight away a lot of men like these kind of behaviours in women. A lot of men never follow through. Let me just be very clear. They like to talk a big talk and then, I was going to say shit their pants. Maybe they do. A lot of men don't follow through with this behaviour. A lot of men like to talk about it but never do. They're never of action, shall we say. That's my experience anyway. That, yes, I suppose it's one of those things where a lot of people are trying to find out. Do you know what I mean? It is a sexual desire that is just a desire, where for me it's who I am, and who it is part of me, and something that I like and enjoy and want to explore and play and feel and touch and all that kind of good shit and feel things. So I will expand on these kind of conversations more, because, like I said, the resources in these kind of conversations are, in my opinion, abhorrent. It's a strong word. Abhorrent. They're just lacking. They're sadly lacking. I don't know why, when it's such a big conversation in certain circles or in porn or all the rest of it, that everyone, look, does everyone watch porn? Do we need to talk about porn? Does everyone watch porn? I mean, if you don't, I don't know. I don't know. Do you? I don't know. Look, most people do. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they do. I'm confident in saying that. Maybe they don't. I don't know. That brings up another conversation. Maybe we could talk about porn. Maybe that's another conversation for another day. But, in the porn world, Now I sound like I watch porn all the time. I actually don't, by the way. I do like porn. Anyway, we're not going to talk about porn and my likes. We're talking about dominant behaviour. Getting off track because it's so exciting. No, yes, I want to open up these conversations. I think, again, communication, hand on heart, I want to use my voice. I have a place where I can do that. I'm comfortable with that. I want to lead these conversations. I want you to be comfortable having conversations with people that you feel comfortable with. I want to explore. If you want to explore through my adventures, come with me. Maybe literally. No. Awkward. No. I meant hand in hand. Let's just look. We're not, like I said, I know it's very easy to denigrate into like silliness in these kind of conversations. And let's be honest, sex is fun and it can be silly. It's all good. But yeah, if that's something that you're interested in, yeah, I'll keep continuing to do these type of podcasts and talk about these kind of behaviours. Look, I'm not going to go into whole specifics about dominant, submissive. I think most people, if they want to do a Google search, look it up. It kind of lays it out for you. But like I said, there is sadly a lack in information between the behaviour and then straight to like you're in the dungeon and you're getting fucked. Like I really would like a greater exploration in the middle behaviours, the middle bit of the thoughts around these things, the feelings around these things, the understanding, the psychological component, just how do you even have these conversations, how do you even start, how do you even do this, like not necessarily, it's not just about pain, it's not just about restraint, it's not just about BDSM. It can be, obviously, about that. It's a component of it. But even just the psychological component of dominant and submissive behaviour, of just, I think there was the YouTube channel that was half decent, which was a podcast, and if I've got it, I'll link it in the description of this podcast for you. Oh, wait a minute. As I just said that, I need to do something before I forget, actually. I'm going to do it right now as I'm talking because it's 10:15 here in Australia, if you didn't know. And I said I was going to release my latest podcast at publish 10, and it's now 10:15, 10:16. Thank you. Just released it. Anyway, it's done now. Yay! Yes, this particular channel that I'll link, it did talk about, like, one subject they talked about was a pleasure dom, which, again, look it up. I'm not going to go into specifics here. But it was refreshing because it just didn't go into straight, restraints and in pain and, all that kind of good shit. It talked about more the psychological component. In a sense, they could have expanded on that, to be honest. But more about, just the service of wanting to please and be pleased, which I thought was refreshing because there's so many, with conversations that I've had with men when you say there's certain things you'd like to do or certain things that you like, it's again that 0 to 100 behaviour where you're like, really? Like, is that all you think this is? Because guess what, boo? It's not. There's so much more. And like I'm now, like I said, I'm in my get fucked, fuck off era where I'm like, once upon a time I'd kind of be like, yeah, just not deal with that kind of behaviour, but I would just not respond to that behaviour or whatever. Where now I'm like, no, mate, like you're not. I'm always temperate of, not being rude because I'm not an arsehole, though a lot of interactions can be that way. That, yeah, just being very straightforward and saying, mate, it's not all about that, by the way. It's not all about, you whipping the shit out of me. So you know what I mean? It's just, again, I think there's that misalignment and understanding of the gap between 0 to 100 that as people who this is a desire or an interesting concept for them, they just don't understand. And I don't understand it in its entirety, and I don't know if I want to understand it in its complete entirety, though I'm very comfortable in saying to you I want to explore it and I want to understand it because, yeah, I'm exploring my own sexual needs around this and my wants and desires, let alone my own psychological desires around control and dominance. It's, again, multifaceted, fucking interesting. I'm in it. I was going to say balls deep. I'm balls deep. I'm loving it. And, yeah, if you love it too and you're interested, then, yeah, keep listening to this podcast because this is a subject that I will talk about again. And, yeah, if you have any thoughts or feelings around this subject as well, you know what you can do. You can contact me anytime, Segway, via my email address, which is info@thetequilahour.com.au. Primarily, I use Instagram as the place to promote this podcast. So I do have the Tequila Hour podcast page. And I do also have my personal page, which is the_1_Amanda. So, look, on my personal page, you might see from time again a picture you're like, hello. All in all, though, I'm very mindful that, you know, I'm not, look, like I mentioned, there's going to be no pictures of me and a man standing naked in front of a mirror. I'm just saying. They're personal for me and my eyes and my husband's. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thank you always for the people who do take time to listen to my podcast. I truly do appreciate it. I really would encourage anyone who does listen to this podcast, I really would love your feedback. I really would love your support. So if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please follow me. I know people regularly listen. So, yeah, if you could subscribe or give me some feedback, I'm here. I'd love to know it. So, yeah, thank you always. Very grateful to those who do. And you know what? For those in Australia, it's Saturday evening. If you're having fun with a man in front of a mirror, go girl. Go. Have fun whatever you're doing. Have a great night. And, yeah, I'll catch you on the next podcast. See ya. Bye.
Get down.